You want to know what Murderer's Row is in MMA right now? It's called 155 pounds. I don't know if I've ever seen a division so stacked before. And I think they're finally getting the credit for it. I think a lot of people agree with me about 155. But, look, here's what you have to understand about the title. Particularly because you have a champion, okay? You have a champion right now in Khabib who doesn't have a license. His license is suspended. You look at the champion before him in Tony, who got hurt. And was that? You look at the champion before him, who was Conor, who left the sport. He left the sport for X amount of times and went over to boxing. Point being, great fighters. Eddie Alvarez, former champion, leaves the organization. You got all of these killers. Dustin Poirier, any given night, hasn't been given his opportunity yet. You got all of these killers. You got them all stacked up, one on top of the next. Not every fight can be for the title. Particularly when you have a division whether it's injury, whether it's happenstance, whether it's once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, which is what Conor and Floyd was. It was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Conor had to go take it. But either way, when you look at the history books of that division, you have to understand, while the title is something very special, so is a main event. Okay? And guys miss this one all the time. If you have main events, you can talk about how many title fights I had, that's power of the pen. If you can win over the bureaucracy, you can beat the opponents in front of you, you can then get through the office, get your name on that bout sheet, good for you. How many main events? Big deal. How many co-main events? Big deal. How many main card fights? Big deal. 155 pounds. Ally Aquinta versus Kevin Lee. It doesn't get much bigger than this. You want to throw a belt out there, go right ahead. They both fought for belts before. You don't want to put a belt out there? You want to put them at the end of the night? You go right on ahead. I will tell you guys, this is a rematch. And it has surprised me how many people aren't aware of that. And one thing about our sport, we live so close to the trees, we miss the forest. All the time. We live in this little bubble and we think that everyone else is paying attention. And then we forget, they're not. But this is a rematch. They fought before. It was an undercard fight. It was very early in Kevin Lee's career. It was for sure one of his first 3 UFC fights, but it might have been his very first, right? I have to go back and look. Very early on, and Al beat him. And it drove Kevin nuts. He couldn't get Al out of his head. And that will happen to you. When a guy beats you, it doesn't matter if it's on the main card. It doesn't matter if it's a main event. It doesn't matter if it's a little sideshow. You don't forget it. Particularly when you go on a world championship run, and that was the last guy to beat you. And that's what happened to Kevin Lee here. He could not let this one go. He couldn't do an interview without saying, I want to fight Al Aquinta. A lot of people are going, why you want to fight Al? Nobody wants to fight Al. Well, a lot of them just didn't know the history between these two. I don't know that Al really wanted to do the fight. He'd already done it once and got his hand raised. I think he got annoyed. I think Ally Aquinta, I think finally the New Yorker in him came out and just got a little pissed off about getting called out. I think that's why we're doing this fight. But either way, it is a rematch. A lot of people don't understand it. This is 2 guys that fought for the strap. This is 2 guys that have been in main events. This is 2 guys that have been in 5-round fights before. Big deal. Main event. History. Rivalry. Rematch.